Okay, so today we're gonna be talking about VO2X. Okay, not VO2X specifically, but we're gonna be talking about the feeder bus deployments in the past, like whether they had double deckers or not. And because all this information is supplied from a senior bus enthusiast, it's descriptive, right? So I wouldn't really be going into detail about it. Like I'm just parroting information from them. So yeah, and I'm gonna be using SG Bus's thumbnail, screen cap, whatever you call it. I'm gonna be using this one. So let's paste it. All right, that's good. So we have our beloved VO2X here. Obviously, they would be in SBS, the old red livery, and not this one, but I'm just gonna use this one to prove my point. Alrighty, I think this is good enough. So for Chua Chu Kang, I know this 190 is not a feeder service, but in the past, in the SBS livery, there was a 190 VO2X, not just VO3X, but VO2X also used to run on 190. Not just that, the feeder services 300, 302, as well as 307, they also ran VO3X. Then you might be wondering, you know 307 is a town link, right? It was made as a merger of the southern loop as well as the northern loop. So you might be wondering, hey, did the northern loop have any DDs? Yes, it had. The southern loop didn't have. There was also another model of double-decker bus. It's called Leyland Atlantean. And this one that used to go to Shenton Way. So it was like Chua Chu Kang to Shenton Way, then it got truncated to... It had a part of 186's current route, like the present-day 186, up till Farrer Road, then it would turn left to Bukit Timah Road and then continue using 985's current route pretty much. So it got truncated to become Chua Chu Kang to Jalan Anak Bukit Loop. So yeah, this thing, it had a Leyland Atlantean. And when 307 was still 303, the northern loop, and only the northern loop, this one had Leyland Atlantean as well. So pretty much this, and this, they had a mixed fleet of both Leyland Atlantean as well as VO2X. There was also Leyland Olympian 2 axles. And 188 used to have this. Why? Because 188 used to be under Jurong Depot. This is basically the predecessor of present-day Sunli Bus Park. And in this depot, they had this bus model. So 188 was the only service at Chua Chu Kang under Jurong Depot alongside, you know, the present-day 975 when it was still 175. Yes, I'm not referring to the 175 from Shenton Way to Tuas. That one was an earlier version of it. I'm referring to the one that eventually became 975. This one was also under Jurong Depot. But I just want to point out that the bus services that used to go all the way to Lim Chu Kang, these were all full single-decker fleet because back then Lim Chu Kang Road wasn't suitable for double-deckers. It wasn't just like the what do you call that, police coast guard. It wasn't just all the way at the end. Like in Lim Chu Kang Road, I don't think the trees back then were pruned yet. So that's the reason why every single Lim Chu Kang service back then it was full single decker fleet. Another important thing to note is that yes, you guys do know that this one is 300's current route, right? And in the past, there was also this stop as well. And then there were two bus stops. So the bus stop at the back, it was towards the looping point, and then the bus stop at the front, it was towards Chua Chu Kang. But 300, yes, it had green and white plates, and the route wasn't like that. Yes, I do know that in 2015 or something, there was a plan to convert 300 to a green and white service. So this was its proposed route, completely skipping this area, and then they were like, okay, let's make 301 go here, right? Well, this wasn't the this wasn't the route of 300G/W in the past, because 300/W in the past didn't have this sector. It was just like this. It was actually very, very simple. And it had double deckers. So yeah. Wait, actually I think this route actually had double deckers. And then obviously the old 301 was like this. Then they converted it so that it's like this, and then they converted both sides when it became 307. But in the past, there was a 301 that did this, and then it was full single decker fleet. So back when UT MRT didn't exist yet, there were two feeder service. I mean, now this is 307, obviously, but 302 in the past was like this, and then it just looped at Street 62. And then this one, if I'm not mistaken, the earliest version of the route, it actually used Chua Chu Kang Drive, and then it was like this. Like, it was actually pretty simple, just like this. Oh shit, sorry. Like this. And then I'm sorry, I forgot that back then it was a left in, left out for this junction. So, hi, tsugi. Oops. Dude, why does it do that? Bukit Batok. Keep in mind that this bus service has always been double-decker restricted. Why? Its current looping point, and then a later edition of Street 52 as well. Both of these areas are double-decker restricted, even for two axles. But bendy buses could actually go inside, because bendy buses do 90-degree turns better than double-deckers. The turns that bendy buses struggle with are awkward road shape, uh, more gentle curves, as well as U-turns and 3-point turns. But when it comes to 90-degree turns, bendy buses are better. So this is why bendy buses have appeared on 365, 945, and yeah. But in the past, there was, whoops, sorry. Oh my god, it's not legible. Predecessor of 941, predecessor of 947, they had a mixture of, so 361 and 367, they had a mixture of Leyland Atlanteans as well as VO2X. The VO2X, they came from Bukit Batok Depot. And you know that Bukit Batok Depot, they deployed their VO2X on 74, right? I mean, the other bus services that had VO2X back then was like 74, 91, and not just the crossovers, even 91 had perms as well, I think. 74, 91, 93, and 154. So pretty much if you have studied in Neon Poly or SIM, SUSS didn't exist back then, but Neon Poly or SIM, your memory would probably be riding VO2X on 74, 154, or riding Hispano Bendy buses on 184. Or single deckers on 52, actually 52, it was a relatively new service, so it's more of like 184 and 154. Yeah, and 74. And 151. But 151 was full aircon, I think. I cannot remember. The exact routes. 361, if you remember the old 941, you would remember that its route was like this. Yes, this was its old route. And there was a period of time whereby they actually chopped off this sector. Yeah, chopped off this sector. And then they made it go like this. But there were complaints from people living along this area, so they eventually reverted back to this route. So yeah, this route used to have double deckers. And then now I'm gonna talk about 367. You do know that 947 nowadays it actually loops at Bukit Batok Road, right? But back then, instead of turning left from Bukit Batok West Avenue 4 to 7, it actually turned right and then it went inside this road. I forgot how it looped back, but it was like it actually went inside here. Because back then 365 didn't do this loop. It just looped at it just simply looped like this. Just one square loop for 365. So 367 for a period of time actually went like inside this road. I do not remember the road configuration back then, but yeah, it was something like this. So this one as well as 361 over here, they had double-decker buses. 366, which is now present day 189. I mean, it got absorbed into 189 because 189 used to have 106's route all the way till Buena Vista. Then it just goes to Marina Center, not via Orchard, but via Alexandra, Lower Deltara, Jalan Bukit Merah, and then it copies present day 167 a little bit, you know. But yes, 189 used to be like this. Then 189 was amended to cover up the deleted sectors of 366. So that's how 366 was like. It looped at Bukit Batok Depot. But 366, this one was full single decker. And 365, the one that is present day 945, like I told you, old 365 was like just this, not inside, but it went outside, and then it just did that square loop back. Not here, but that square loop. So yes, only these two had double-decker buses. These two were fully single-decker, and then Bendy's eventually appeared on 365, 945. You get the idea. This is why I really don't want to separate Trans-Island and SMRT's history, because they're pretty much the same thing, okay? I don't care what my commenters say, because the majority voted that TIPS is pretty much the same entity as SMRT, so I'm just following it. There is this one thing that I will never understand. Okay, so basically, this, and this, SD, but for a 1 month period of time, in 1993, I was told the exact year, for 1 month, they actually put Leyland Atlanteans on this one. Which honestly makes no sense at all. Like, I don't know if it was because of like resident feedback, but this bus route was literally just like this. Okay, they parked along this side of the old Bukit Panjang terminal because the trunks parked at this side, if I'm not mistaken, and the feeders parked at this side. So it was like this. And then it went into Bangkit Road both directions, and yeah. So this is 344, and then 345, it doesn't go inside Bangkit Road, it just loops like this, if I'm not mistaken. And then there were no bus stops along here back then, because there were no flats along that side of the road. It was just hill. But yes, the red route was full SD, but the black route, for 1 month, it actually had double decker. I don't know why, but because it's like, you know, there used to be a not NTU. There used to be this one which also eventually handed over to TIPS. I just don't get it. Because the old 179, it was like Choa Chu Kang Loop, Chua Chu Kang Avenue 4, then Chua Chu Kang Way, then Chua Chu Kang Avenue 1. I know it's not to scale. Teck Whye Avenue, Chua Chu Kang Road. I should erase this. Then it went inside Gangsa Road like this. Then I think it went inside as well. So you are telling me that the longer route 179 was full SD, and you're telling me that the route in black actually had double deckers. Like, I don't even know why. Why is it that both of the routes are the same, but they put the double deckers on the shorter route and not the longer route? Like, it just doesn't make sense. Now, I do understand that this one, when it got handed over to Trans Island Bus Services, they didn't change the route or anything. This one, eventually, they put bendy buses on it. So, I don't know what even compelled SBS to, for 1 month, to actually put double deckers on the shorter service. It just makes no sense. And by the way, if you're curious of what this thing's fleet was like back then under SBS, before it got handed over to Tips, it was just Volvo Mark III. Yes, Volvo B10M Mark III. Again, it makes no sense. Surprise, surprise, UNOS. Whoops, sorry. Pardon. Okay, 382, if I'm not mistaken, was full SD. I think, I don't remember what the fleet it had. Was it like 0405 or Volvos? But 385 had VO2X. Not just VO2X, but Mercedes-Benz 03, 05 double deckers as well. The DD variant of it, because you know 0305s, there was also the minibus variant, right? So yes, this one actually had 0305 double deckers. Route wise, very very simple. You guys will know this as Service 60 nowadays. It was a part of Service 60, and this one had double deckers. Now for Jurong East. Okay, this one technically originated from Jurong Interchange, located at the junction between Jalan Ahmad Ibrahim and Jurong Port Road. This one, when it was still 241, 241 was full SD. But when this one eventually became 331, it gained double deckers. So just a recap, all the SBS feeder buses. Yes, 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 yes. All of them had Leyland Atlantean 2 axles. Now, I do know that 3 axles nowadays they can actually operate on 333 and 335 as well, but in the past it was Leyland Atlantean 2 axles. Why? Because the predecessor of Sunli Bus Park, which was called Jurong Depot, the bus model was LO2X, and all of these bus services over here, they had LO2X. The difference was that these received the LO2X first. This one was full single decker until I don't know which year, but this one, it had LO2X as well. But this one was the last ever feeder bus service to receive LO2X. So that's the difference. But pretty much all of them except this one had LO2X. And if you're curious, this one is a predecessor of 143M. More of like, if you want to be super exact about things, this one became a part of 143's route, and then over time 143M appeared. So yeah. And if you're just curious, what is this bus service nowadays? It got absorbed into 700, right? But then eventually it got revived as 973. Hougang South, all the feeder bus services except 323 and old 329 had double-deckers. So I'm not kidding. All these bus services, 321, 322, even this as well, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm mistaken, please correct me in the comment section down below. This, and present day 101, all of them had VO2X, double deckers. Before the VO2X, I don't know what bus models they had, but I was told that they have VO2X. So essentially, I know it's hard to believe, but even this one had VO2X in the past. This one is pretty much 101. And then what got merged into 113 eventually had VO2X as well as what eventually got merged into 112. So yes, Hougang Street 11 actually used to have VO2X going inside it. Obviously, if you send the 3-axle double-decker inside there, it's kind of dangerous, but if it's just 2 axles, yeah, you could still send them in. So yes, this road used to have double-deckers. And then, if you're also curious, the predecessor of 112, the Western loop, if I'm not mistaken, that is 322. It used to loop like this. Follow my cursor. Like this, Avenue 8, 4, Street 61, and 8. But it got extended so that it no longer loops at Street 61, it loops at using 4, 9, 92, 9, and 4, and 8 again. This means that VO2X actually went inside not just Street 11 but Street 92 as well in the past. I don't know when the VO2X were taken out of the Hougang feeders, but you could just take it that like when they got consolidated into 112, 113, they lost their double deckers. Because I don't know where they sent the VO2X. I think it was like to Bukit Batok Depot and Ayer Rajah Bus Park, and as well as Sunli. They sent all their VO2X there. Now it's time for the east side, Bedok. This one was the only one to have VO2X. Now I am aware that 228's route used to be something like this, I think. And then they split it into 226 and 228. But basically, 225, I'm sorry for the bad drawing, 226, and 228, which eventually the route got changed to become like this. All these three bus services use Leyland Atlantean. And then I was also told that 229 never had double deckers. You guys might want to verify that, but I was told 229 never had it. I don't know as cameos or as perms or what, but I was told that like yeah, it historically never ran. But then when I searched Google Images, I don't know, I found like some image. I don't know if it was edited or something. It showed a 229 VO3X. I don't even know if that was a legitimate run or it was just an edit. But yeah, just take it that these three had Leyland Atlanteans and 222 had VO3. 222, okay, it had VO3X obviously, but 222 had oh my god, 222 had VO2X. I am sorry to say, I completely forgot if these two had VO2X. But then there was VO3X. Now, fun fact, full SD, then For a period of time, this was how it was operated. During special events at Marina Garden, I don't know what you call that back then. Gardens by the Bay didn't exist, so you could just take it that these bus services used to exist, and then these were like short working trips. Okay, eventually this one got handed over to SBS as well. And then in 2005, if I'm not mistaken, 400B, there is photo proof as well from that famous Instagram account. I think this one they use VO3X. I could be wrong. I might have mistaken it for an LO2X. Cause this one was under like Ang Mo Kio Depot. I couldn't remember if it was like VO3X or LO3X. I'm sorry, this one you have to correct me in the comment section. But basically, yeah, you could just take it that this one had double deckers. This one had double deckers. Obviously, this one no, and then this one was full single decker fleet. Then that obscure bus service that I have been talking about. Okay, the first generation of 402 that serves Turf City, present day Turf City, the first gen it was all SD. But then the second gen of it was like Bedok to some, I forgot what that place name is called. Yes, I don't know if this would surprise you or not. Oh my god. This one was just a trial bus service, and eventually the trial I think failed. This one actually used Atlantean. Yes, Leyland Atlantean. And fun fact, this one was a real thing. VO2X. Now, and then there is that town link thingy. I forgot if it was on the right or on the left, but yeah, let's just imagine there's that green thingy with white words that say town link. It was super tiny, but yeah, this one was legit. And this was the only Parseris feeder to have VO2X. Someone correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong. All these services, including 359, they had Leyland Atlanteans. The Parseris feeders. Okay, so this one is, I've talked about the route before. This one is basically 359E, and obviously it carried over. This one, well, this one was, this one, it's now service 3, present day service 3. And okay, this one, if I'm not mistaken, it was the western half of 357. The eastern half was like 352. Yeah, 357E. And basically, this one, it got carried over to 357. And obviously 352, it used to have a full single decker fleet. And when it became 357, Parseris Street 21 now had Leyland Atlanteans. 355, it was 359's West Loop. So effectively, you could say that, how do I put this? This is really testing my memory of history in general, because Yup. So the ones that have double deckers are this, no. Okay, so this one, it's restricted. Street 41, the right turn to drive 6. That one, the turn is way too tight for any double-decker bus to make. So that's why. I mean, this one, the way it looped was 3, 6, drive 3, drive 6, drive 1, drive 4, drive 3. And then for several times of the day, it would go inside Parseris close. And then eventually, this one, 354 before the extension was born out of 350. But yeah, and then this one is obviously the one that loops at alias and drive 10 and alias. Basically, the entire 358 never had double deckers. So yeah, if you want to know which ones had double deckers, just look at the ones with the ticks. I think this is the best comparison chart so that you guys are able to understand history a little bit better, and it's also a learning process for me as well, because I keep forgetting which one is which, like the feeders when they merge into the townlings and everything. I remember woodlands, but this one I don't remember, so yeah. So with this, you could also learn that Drive 10 Street 71, they were double-decker friendly ever since the beginning of time. Just like in the case of Street 12, Street 11, Street 51, they were also double-decker friendly. I mean, because you see this one. So yeah. This video was kind of scripted, obviously, but basically if I didn't script it, I think I would mess up a lot of information. So yeah. Thank you to the senior bus enthusiast who provided me all this information because I didn't exist back then. So yeah.